everyone. So in a live stream recently I made a card which was called a tiered pop-up card, and I did it in a 6x6. So I thought I'd have another go at it, but do it in a 5x7 and do a slightly different variation on it in a couple of senses, just to give you some more ideas of what you can do with this card. There really is lots of different ways you could do this. So this is the card I've made. This is the front of it, nice and simple. On the front I've used dye from In Love Art Shop, so if you use my code ICED30 that will get you 30% off your order. I'll put a link up here in the corner to that. And then the papers that I've used, and these are embellishments here, are all from my Silent Night paper pad. Again, I'll put them up in the corner here. It's available in an 8.5 by 8.5, and it's also available in a letter size as well, and also available as a digital kit. So I will put them all up in here one by one, so you can click on those and that takes you through. Then you open it up and inside you have this. So you've got like a staggered, tiered, exactly what it says, a tiered pop-up card. Now the one I did in the live stream, we didn't have these side pieces on, so these were just flat pieces, and then we had a little box that connected everything up. So this is just another way of doing it. So if you want, you know, you can create more of a kind of a box look, and then at the back there you've got somewhere to write. The other thing as well is you could do it this way round, which I quite like. Now I'm sure this way round has been done before, yeah, but I quite like the extra back section because I can't put it down because I've just stuck these down. But if you stand it up, depending on what card you use, it does stand up not too bad. This bit does flap. But on my sample card, I use a slightly thicker base card, and that back section actually held itself up. So that's another way of doing it. So yeah, there's lots of different things you can do. I've used a border punch on here, but if you wanted to, you could use little die cuts coming out. There's lots of things you could do with it, to be honest with you. It folds down. It's relatively flat. I mean, depending on what kind of thickness of card you use, it will be a bit bulky because you have got quite a few layers there, but it will fit in an envelope for a 5x7 card. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this card, you're going to need quite a few bits of base card. Now, on my square one that I did, I actually used all the same. Oh no, I didn't use all the same colour actually. I used different colours, but you can use all the same colour if you want to. However, I am actually going to be using 3 different colours. I've got a main base card, which is the navy, but I'm also using gold and white in it because my pattern paper that I want to use on the side and that I want to use on the front has got gold in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the main one. So this is what makes your outside base card, and this is 7x10, and you're just going to score halfway at 5 inches, which will give you a 5x7 card blank. So if you already have a 5x7 card blank in the colour that you want to use, then you can just go ahead and use that. So that's that piece done. So we can put that to one side. So then what you're going to need is 5 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of card. The first one measures 5x7, and all we're going to do on the short side, we're just going to score it at 1/2 inch, and then that can go to one side. Then you need one piece that is 5.5x6, and on the 5.5 side you're going to score it at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, and at 5. Next up you need a piece that's 5x5, and you're going to do the same again. So you're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch, and then you're going to score at 4.5. Then you need a piece that's 4x4.5, and along the 4.5 inch edge, so the longest edge, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, and at 4 inches. And last but not least, you need a piece that is 3x4, and along the 4 inch edge, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, at 1 inches, and at 3.5 inches. And that is all your scoring done. Right, so we've got all of our layers. So this is the 5x7 piece. All of your 1/2 inch tabs need to go on the left, and then all of the, so this one's only got 1 tab on it. These pieces that have got like 2 tabs, as it were, they go on the right. Okay, so if you make sure that all your pieces are that way round. Now what I'm going to do, so on the one that I did before, I did it like this, so it was all layered up like that, and then we cut trees and we added trees and whatever. However, on this one, I just thought, let's do something a bit different. Let's layer it slightly differently, and also let's use a border punch. Now, again, if you haven't got a border punch or you haven't got a border die or anything like that, you can just use die cut shapes if you want to, or fussy cut shapes. So if you wanted to like this, you can maybe make this not as tall, make it a little bit narrower, and have things kind of popping out from behind like stars, candles, on all the different layers. So that's another option. You can have them just as flat shapes. With the square one, what I did was I didn't have these two pieces here, so we actually had like a little box on the inside, which you would have seen in the intro. But on this one, I thought I'd show you the other way of doing, because I did mention this in my live stream, but I thought, let me show you the other way of doing it. So this way you don't need any extra like little pieces, little boxes and whatever, but it does give you a different look. So just, bear that in mind. So what I'm going to do with this one is I am actually going to punch this. So what I think we should do is I'm going to do all of them, and I'm going to do all of them top and bottom. So let's do that first. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this in, and I am going to line it up. I'm going to line it up so that this is in the center, like that. And I'm going to bring it over one side and punch. Bring it over the other side and punch. And then I'm going to turn it around and do the same again. But by lining it up in the center, it means that hopefully my stars should be pretty much, the same top and bottom. So let's just punch this out. Right, so where we have our tabs, I'm going to actually cut down that. Actually, I think I might use a standing knife because I need to go across the whole sort of width of it, because I don't need there to be stars where the tabs are. So that's that one done, and then what we need to do now is just need to bend and fold these pieces over, and then we're going to put, I'm actually going to use red tape on this just because I'm obviously using mirror card. So I'm going to put red tape here and then red tape just on this end one, not on here. Okay, so that's that piece done. Now, if you want to, you could put a piece of pattern paper on the front here. I might end up doing that, we'll see, because I wanted my greeting to be there, so it might cover it too much that it's not really worth it. So we'll see on that one. But that is that one done. I'm also not very happy about this here. I might end up trimming it, we'll see. Or I might end up putting a star on. No, I can't put a star on. It can't go over that edge, because when it folds up, that is going to be the very edge of your card. So just bear that in mind. So let's move on to this one. So I'm going to do the same with all of these now. So with this one, and this one, I'm going to do the same again. So I'm just going to punch the top and the bottom. Now, one thing about this punch is that this is all the bits that are like the off-cutty bits. But look at all those stars. I've got gold stars, white stars, navy stars. I'm going to keep those and use those on the front, because I think that might be a good way of adding a little bit of bling, a little bit of sparkle on the front with colours that you're already using. But it also means it's not going to add extra weight, like with using gems or whatever. And then I'm just going to throw away the border section. So I've just put them on a little, I have this die cut circles from a previous card, so I've just put them on there, and then I'm going to put that to one side, and then hopefully I can not lose them. Right, so then on these we're going to do exactly the same again as we did on that first piece. I'm just going to cut the star out the way and then add red tape and fold and score. Okay, so we've got all of our layers all cut out, all punched and ready to go. I am actually going to just take that off because I don't like the fact that that's sticking up like that. I'm just going to cut it at a bit of an angle. It's a bit weird, but I think once it's all together and you've got stuff on it, it's not going to be quite so bad. So what we need to do is bring in our card base, and on the front, before we start putting things on the inside, we need a piece of mat that is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 and a piece of pattern that's 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So that's going to go on the front there. Okay, so I've done the front one. You actually need another one as well for the inside, just to go on here. So exactly the same again, 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 for the mat, 4.5 by 6.5 for the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that just on that inside cover. So that's what you should end up with. So then what you want to do on the inside here is you're going to need a white piece. Now, if you want to put a mat on it, you can. I haven't. I've just gone for 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 white. If you want, you can do that as your mat, and then your white would be the same as your pattern, which is 4.5 by 6.5. So I'm going to go ahead, stamp this, and then stick that into place. Okay, so we've stuck that in. So now we're going to take the 5 by 7 piece, and we just need to add some red tape along there, and then I just need to fold and burnish my score line. Okay, so I chose not to miter this tab just because otherwise you're going to see part of this and it will look messy, whereas if you leave this hole, it's just a whole navy piece when you see on the inside. So what we're going to do, I folded and burnished, but I need to lay this flat. I'm going to take the backing off my card and my tape, and I'm just going to take a bit off. I don't want to take the whole thing off. Actually, I am going to take the whole thing off. I'm going to be daring. Take the whole thing off. You want to lay it flat, make sure it's all lined up, and then you want to make sure that this is right up in that crease. And as soon as it's in the crease, you can go ahead and kind of shut the card onto it, so that when you open it, you end up with this little extra flap. Like this. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to stick a few little stars, just top and bottom, out of my little star pile, because I think once I've added other pieces in, it might prove a little bit tricky. So I'm going to bring this one in, just lay it on, just so I can kind of see roughly where my, where my gaps are going to be. And then I'm just going to go and add a few little stars on. I'm going to use my little gem picker tool from DRK Crafts, because I really love this, and the wax tip for things like this is perfect. I'm also going to use my B6000 glue because it's nice and fine, and I find it's very good for things like this. Okay, so I've stuck those in. And then what we want to do with these, I'm just going to go ahead and fold and burnish all of my score lines. And then making sure you've got the 1/2 inch tab on this side, you're going to take out your backing tape. And then what we're going to do is bring this card in. I'm going to turn this over. I'm actually going to fold this over. This is a little trick I'd learnt when I was doing the other one. If you fold these over, then as long as you've got both tabs showing, this edge needs to line up with the edge of your card, and if you do that, it just means this sticky bit isn't touching anything, and it just makes it a little bit easier. If you find when you start to lay it down that this tab is a little bit too big, it's actually overlapping, then you will probably just need to just go in with a pair of scissors and just trim it down, just trim a fraction off it so that it will actually fit properly, so it's not going to be overlapping. So let's try that again. So that's going to go in there. Going to line that folded edge up, and then we're just going to stick that down like that. So then this folds up like this. And then what we need to do now is take the backing off this piece here, and then we're going to hold it like that, take the whole thing and fold it down flat like that. And as you can see, nothing should poke out the side here. So this is why it's better to line this edge up rather than that edge, because this is the bit that matters. So when you open it, that's your first layer done. So I'm quite pleased with that. That works well. Right, so then we need to take the next one, which is the white one, and we're going to do the same again. So I'm going to fold and burnish all of my score lines. And then we are going to take the backing off this side here. I'm going to bring this in. If we just fold that back, bring this in, and just make sure again, if you line that up with there and it's central, that this isn't going to overlap too much. Make sure you do both tabs, not just the one like I just did just then. So let's just make sure that's kind of central top and bottom, which I think it is. Yep, that tab is clearing, so that's good. So that's there. And then we're going to take this off here. If you want to, you can just fold this over onto there rather than shutting it the other way. So that's like that, and then when you pull it up, you have that next layer. Then we want to grab the next one in, and we're going to do the same again. So fold and burnish all your score lines if you haven't already. And then we're going to take the backing off the tape again, bring our card into place, and then again I'm going to fold that over, line it up with the edge of the card, make sure it's kind of central top and bottom, which I think it is. And then when you're happy, you can go ahead, stick that tab down, and then with it in place like this, it's easier this way around actually. And bring the whole thing over and on top of it like that. You do end up with a bit of a bulk here, but this is why I haven't done any patterns and mats. I've just kept it to a single colour, and I quite like the fact it's a single colour. Like that. And then we're going to do the same with this one, and this is the last one to be added. And there you have your inside done. Okay, so I really like that. One thing I do think it needs, on these edges here, I think we need to put some stars. So I'm going to go ahead now and just add some stars onto the edges, just a few. Okay, so that is the inside done. I've cut this out of the pages that were the back of the Amazon paper pad that I've done. And so that's going to go on there like that. And I'm also cutting out for the front. I've already cut this out. This is a die cut that comes from, a die set that comes from In Love Art Shop. So if you use my code ICED30, you'll get 30% off your order up until the end of January 2025. So I really like this. Very nice indeed. So you get the actual die, which is cut out of gold, and then you also get the shadow part, which is I've cut out of navy. So that's like the shadow bit. But just really, really nice, really pretty. So that's going to go on the front, but then that is a bit bare. So what I thought I might do is add in some of these stars, and this is also from my paper pad, not from the digital kit, from the paper pad. In fact, I don't know if they were on the digital kit. I'm not sure if they were, but they're definitely on the paper pad anyway. So yeah, so I'm going to fussy cut some of these out, and then we're going to go ahead and stick some down. Okay, so I'm going to go now and start sticking all of this down. Okay, so there we have the finished card. I'm quite happy with the way that's turned out. And then on the inside, you have all your different layers. And then obviously you've got space to write at the back here. But it stands up nicely, like that. You don't have to really tell the recipient what to do. It's pretty obvious when they open it up how it all works. But yeah, so really nice. So don't forget to check out my Amazon paper pads. The links all will be in the description below. This is the Silent Night pack. It's also available as a digital kit. There are slight variations in the digital kit to the paper pad. And then the dies, obviously, like I said, from In Love Art Shop. So go and check them out. Use my code ICED30 up to the end of January 2025, which will get you 30% off your order. Yeah, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I'll see you again next time. Bye!